Back to today's topic. So in the previous session, we have discussed about functions. So I hope everyone are clear with all the types of functions, right? Did you everyone check with the practical examples? Check just now, right? Isn't it, bro? Yeah. Any types of functions, yep. Yeah. So totally we have 10 types of functions we have discussed, right? 8 we named on the top, but 2 more we have discussed, like what callback functions we discussed, along with that higher order functions we discussed. Okay. So most of the cases we'll go with the higher order functions are very important topic. Okay. Try to put more concentration on higher order and also construct functions and arrow functions. Okay. So next today we'll be going to discuss about new topic that is nothing but event propagation. Okay. So what is meant by event propagation? Hmm? So event propagation is nothing but the way how we are going to handle each and every events that we are going to handle with using the JavaScript, like click functions, everything. Okay. So for example, when it comes to the event propagation, there are two phases in the event propagation. Okay. Majorly. So sure. Under this, the first one is the bubbling, and second one is the capturing. Okay, so bubbling and capturing is one of the important concepts in the event propagation. So what is this? Bubbling will do is basically the bubbling principle is very simple. Okay, so when an event happens, okay, for example, I was clicking a particular element. Okay, so usually my code execution will be from top to bottom, right? Like line by line execution. But what bubbling will do, it will go in the opposite way. That means, for example, so let us take an example like so yeah, before that let me take few links. Yeah. So let me give on click to it. Okay, on click I want alert. What I'll give, so I'll go with form. Okay, so this is what I just want to alert it when I need to alert it whenever user clicks on this form element. Okay, so now, so let us create one more element. So let us create one more element within this, that is nothing but div. Okay, so I'll do the same thing. So on click, let us give a alert, like what is the alert we need to give? So as it is a div, so I'll give like div. Clear? So now I'll create one more alert within this paragraph. So on click, I'll give like alert of p tag. Okay. So now let me give some styles to it. Okay. Why? Because I just need to make sure that okay. So what this means? What is space star? What it mentions? Hmm? So whichever the element that is going to get created in body, so for all the elements, this property is going to get apply universal selector. Clear? So now what I'll do, what is the file name? Laptop. Okay. So now if you see, I have totally body. What I have? Form. Within that form, I have a div, and within that div, I have para. So now if you see, when I click on this para, so which element I was clicking? P tag. So what is the output I'll get? P tag alert, right? But what all I was getting? Form. Why? Because whenever a particular event is happened, okay, so what is this bubbling will do? It will not stop there where the event is happened. Why? Because it will go to the ancestors. First it will go to the parent, then grandparent, then ancestors. So how many are there? It will go to the flow until unless it's gone ends. Okay, so simply to say, it first runs on the handler side. Okay, first it will run on the event where we exactly targeting. Okay, so there is, whenever you want discussing about bubbling, there is one more concept called as target. So for example, so even though now if you see the bubbling is changing the events, okay, I was clicking only on paragraph, but it was trying to access each and every parent, its parents and ancestors, right? But what is this target will do is, even though now I was able to access all, it will give me the exact event target which I was accessed. That means where my event is particularly started from. That means what is the starting point of this event? Maybe it ended somewhere else, but we need to know where it was started, right? For example, if I was writing a click event for any form or any div or something, I need to know, I have to make sure that it happened on the particular target, right? So in that case, what we need to know? We need to know where it exactly happening. So for that cause only, we have a target keyword which will give us the exact position or the element which is get started the whole event bubbling. So they will go for. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's what, nothing but just bubbling. So simply to say, whenever a event is happened, the first the child element will get activated, then it will go to the parent, then it will go to the grandparent, then it will go to the ancestors. Okay, it's go on happens until the top of the body. Okay, so for example, event target, what it will do, so as I already mentioned, so whenever you particularly clicked on element, it will give us the exact element which you are accessing. So for example, let me take a same example. Okay, form d1 this. So what I'll do, what is this? Okay, so let's write some JavaScript like, it was within script only, right? Why it was not taking? So on click of the form, I was writing a function like function of. So I was passing event here. Okay, directly parameter I was passing an event. So within this function, what I need to do, I want to pass the target keyword here. So event. So what is this event will do? It will just extract the particular event. What is the event you did, whether it's a double click or single click, any event it may be. These can be accessed by add event listeners. Last time we already discussed add event listeners. So it is also one of the child of Which one? Add event listener only. Okay. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do, I want to target which particular element that I was clicking. So what I was giving target. Okay, directly I was using the keyword and I want to add styles to it. Styles dot background of. Let me give green. Okay. So what I was particularly mentioning here is whenever user clicks on particular any item in this form, I want to show that element color to be background to be green. So that means we'll get the exact position where my click event is happened here. So for that, what I need to further need to do, so it needed some time to paint like our background. So what I'll use a set timer to delay to make it asynchronous because immediately I don't wanna execute when the event is happen. Then I need to take some time to showcase it for more adequate output. So what I'll do, let me use an arrow function. Yeah. Timer. Yeah. So I'll do that. So what we are doing here, so target is a string here. So I was first getting the event dot targeted tag name. So I was first getting which particular tag name that the event is getting happened. So then I was getting this. What is this mentions here? So which particular parent ancestors are where I was accessing it from. Okay. So for example, now let us go with. Yeah. So I want to give a delay of 0. I don't want to give more. I'll give 0. So maybe you may think that 0 is like a no value. Even 1 second, it's a like what we say meaningful. But in a execution of like asynchronous synchronous functions, even 0 is also one of the asynchronous one it will make. Why? Because by default it will be going without any stopping. But even a 0 second is we have negative values minus 0.3 like that, right? So that's why 0 is also always considered as one of the value of set timers delays. Okay. So now, so what I'll do? So let me write some bag styles here. Start with form. Yeah. With make it a point. I'll duplicate it And let's go with the div now. So background color, let us be green. Okay, position, let me make absolute. Yeah. So now let's go with which is the next element we have. P tag, right? So why we need this? Let's just duplicate this. I'm gonna write again. So red, green. Let us go with blue. Okay. So P tag. So usually it will have a margin. So let me remove that. Okay. Yeah. So form div P tag. Yeah. So now let's get back and check the output how it is. So let us remove this and all. I don't want any alerts from this one now. Okay, because we are already accessing from form directly here on click. So it's one due to the concepts of bubbling, what happens? This all can be accessed with through events. Okay. So now if you see, if we just break down the code, what we are doing, we are just passing a on click functionality on the form tag. So whenever this event is passed, I was getting the target. So that event target, wherever the target is there, for that one I was using the style dot background. I was using, let me add other color, like yellow, already we have green, right? So yellow. So I was adding this background to that element. So what it means? So whichever the element turns into yellow, that means that is the element that we have given the event. That is nothing but the target. Okay. So what I was doing, I was putting a set timeout here for just alerting that whatever the tag name along with this dot from which parent ancestor or which one we are accessed it. Okay. So I was giving empty color here. So for example, so now if I go to the browser, see if we have this. So p tag, div tag, and form tag. Okay. It is not happening here. Form is not defined. The hell is happening? So target is P, and this is from which ancestor it was taken from. It was taken from my parent. So it was telling where exactly it was going to go and end. So it was going and ending at the form tag there. So for example, if I click on form, so what I was getting, target is the form, and this is from form itself. That is where it was starting and it was ending. But when I go with the div tag, if you see, target is a div and form. So that means the bubbling is happening. However, in the water, the bubbles come up in the same way. The events within, usually what happens, the bubbling concept, it's a default one. Okay, there is no way that you are writing it by any other methods. It is a default way my bubbling will happen to each and every event that you consider. It means almost all the events that you can consider. Okay, so that's the default habit of any event. So bubbling is, that's how my bubbling will work. So even see, when I was clicking here, so what happening basically, so this is my target element, but it was going upwards. That means how many events you may write within this, it is going to get applicable to those elements there. Clear? So previously we have seen with the example of on click, when we, even whenever we click on the inner elements, what happening? So the elements is automatically, my event is getting applied to the outer elements also. Clear? So that's how my bubbling will be usually apply. And whenever you want to extract the exact position where my event is getting started, so that's where we'll use this target. So target is the one which will give you the exact position where exactly my event is get started. Clear? So is anybody have any doubts in this? See, this is target is form. Target in the sense where my event is started. My event started at the form only, right? So next div and form. So next p tag. So is anybody have any doubts here? Hmm? Clear? Okay. So next we'll be going to the next phase is called this, another phase of event is called as capturing. Okay. So it's very rarely we use. So bubbling is by default it will work, but capturing will be not going to work by default. Okay, so bubbling need to be done by, sorry, capturing is need to be applied by the user if you want to apply to any elements. So the standard DOM elements, that means DOM is nothing but document object model. Standardly, we have three phases of event propagation. So what are the three phases? First one we already discussed, bubbling. Second one is the targeting which element it need to be start the event propagation. And third one is the bubbling, sorry, capturing. Okay, so these are the three things that we'll have in the event propagation. So for example, bubbling you don't need to deal about. Why? Because it's already default coming. But whenever you want to deal with the capturing, so you need to have handle it manually. So that means there is a syntax to be followed. Like, so for example, dot add event listener. Okay, whatever the parameters you may give, but when you are passing the parameters, then what you need to give here? You can pass the here capture as true. By default, it will be false only. Okay, there will be no capture, but when you want to apply, you can give it as true. So also there is one more way that you can give. So how? So directly instead of giving the keyword of capture, even if you give true also, it will be considered as the word capture only. Okay, so the parameters, there are three parameters, usually three values it will take in many add event listeners. Okay, so the last one is the nothing but the capture value, so it can be given like this. So for example, so let me take the same one. Okay, so let us comment out this code, and now let us go with the same form given p tag now. But what we will do, let us make a small change and see both what we say bubbling and capturing at a time. Okay, so how it will work basically. So what I'll do like for loop I'll go with. Okay, so let element lm is nothing but element, you know, the predefined JavaScript words we can use. Okay, so lm of document. Okay, document which mentions the whole document of your HTML dot query selector. Okay, query selector which will help you to deal with any type of selector. So here I don't want to go with any particular selector, so I want to select also query selector where all. So I want to consider all query selectors. So what I'll do, I'll go with universal selector. Okay, so now this loop, what I want to do is, so what happened? Some issue is happening. Yeah. So I want to go like element dot each and every element, whichever the element you may click. I was extracting all by using for loop. So I want to add the add event listener to each and every element, whichever the element you click. I want to add the add event listener. I was accessing. Okay. So which is the event I want to pass. So let me click in the string. So the event I want to pass is alert. Okay. So alert. So first let's deal with the capturing. So what I'll do, I'll give a caption like capturing. It's just a string. We are, because we are giving in the, okay, I given normally. Let us give in the backticks. That's what I was actually looking for. So backtick I was given. So now whatever I write within this, it will be string. And if I want to add any function, I can use the dollar symbol directly, right? So I want to access the element dot tag name. So simply to say what I was doing, I was just accessing the element here. So and I was passing true value to it. Okay. So if you see here, for every element of the document, okay, so universally I was selecting every element, not on a particular. If you see here, even though I have a body div p, so that doesn't mean that star is not only indicate only these three. Also, what else we have? Body also we have, and even HTML also we have. So that also comes under universal selector only, right? So when I give star, it is applies for body also. So now my bubbling will be going from, for example, if I start bubbling in the previous way, p tag, p to div to form to body, body to HTML. It will stop at HTML only. Until then, it will not stop. Why? Because I was selecting a universal selector here. So then what I was doing, element.add event listener, click. Wherever I click on my body, it will capture that particular element and it will apply the bubbling, sorry, it will apply the capturing there. So I'll do the same thing. Pardon?
Flower basis you check, sir.
Pardon? I didn't get you.
Flower basis, sir.
What you were saying? ఏం చెప్తున్నావు నాకు అర్థం కాల ఈసారి చెప్పు
సార్ అక్కడ డాలర్ సింబల్ కదా ఫ్లవర్ బేసిస్ check, sir.
Cool. Thank you. I was habituated with this. Don't know how many times I need to correct it. Thank you. So for basic understanding what we are doing, so one I was passing true and one I was not passing true. Okay, both will do the same work, but one I was passing true and one I was not passing true. Okay, so now if I go on check with the output. So capturing. So now if you see, first I was capturing and is there. So if you see capturing, it started. So then what happened? It came to body. Next, again body and went back to, sorry, I need to make a small change to content here. Bubbling. Okay, so that you will know. So why this happened, why we got here like this is, so if you see where I click now currently, on which element? Body element. So, but as per the bubbling, we should get body, right? But we are getting the HTML. Why? Because capturing is the first line we are executing. So first capturing, in the sense, as I said, capturing, it will go on execute from top to bottom. Bubbling will be bottom to top. So when as I given the capturing as true here, okay, in the event propagation. So now what happened? See HTML body, stopped at body. Now again I'll get body. Why? Because bubbling is starting there. That's why I was getting body 2 times. Now it will go backwards because first line deals with the capturing, second line deals with the bubbling. So now if you see, again it will go HTML and it will stop. For example, if I click on p tag maybe, Now if you see HTML, next what I'll get? Body, form, div, and p tag. Now what I'll get? Why? So again, my bubbling is getting back. So bubbling, div, form, body, and HTML. Clear? So that's how my bubbling usually and captioning will work. So by default, the behavior of JavaScript elements is event listeners is bubbling only. But whenever you want to, very rarely you will use, and most of the case will not use at all capturing. But whenever you want to use this capturing, when like sometimes you need to access the event listeners, you need to handle on the screen. Okay, so in such cases, you will use this capturing method, which will give you the exact by using. If you mix the concept of target and capturing, you will get the exact target also. Okay, clear? So that's how my what happens. Bubbling and capturing will work, and target also. So bubbling works from bottom to top, and capturing works from top to bottom. But default one is not capturing. Default one is the bubbling. So target is the one which will give us the privilege of what it will give, getting the exact position where my target sorry event is get triggered. Clear? So is anybody have any doubts? Any doubts? Okay. So online people, anybody have any doubts?
Class.
So is everyone clear? Okay. So now let's go with our next topic. Nothing but BOM. So what is meant by BOM? Hmm? Hmm? Browser object model. Browser object. So what do you mean by this browser object model? So the JavaScript usually was initially created for web browsers only. So the like for dealing with the web browsers, we created JavaScript, but later on it has evolved. Okay, so into a language. Before it was a language just for web browser. Now it was evolved into language with many users and platforms. Okay, for example, even a simple mission like a fan, like remote sensor fans, like you want a loop, like a speed loops, we have right 2, 3, 4 speed. Even if you're applying there also JavaScript, it doesn't, there is no, what we say, ఆశ్చర్యాన్ని ఏమంటారు wonder in it, right? So if there is no wonder, why? Because JavaScript is evolved that much from just a web browser to a becoming an one of the platforms. Okay, so the platform can be a browser like a or a web server or a host or any another host, anything it may be. So for example, JavaScript help us to deal with control the web pages. Node will help us to Node.js will what it will do. It will help us to provide server side features, right? So in the so on like this, each and everything have their own way of behaving and controls. Okay, so in one of those, the BOM is also concept of this host. For example, whenever a JavaScript is went into the browser, there will be three type of objects that will be formed under this. Okay, so under this JavaScript window, so one is the document, nothing but DOM. We already discussed how we can manipulate. So second one is the BOM, nothing but browser object model. Okay, so here, and third one is the JavaScript, like objects, arrays, functions, what you create. Those bundle will be third object. So here, whenever my browser is one of the host, okay, now, so in that host, whenever access any, for example, when I run a code in the browser, so the browser will be handling the whole tab events. So, but apart from one particular thing, that is nothing but DOM. So that means, so if you open a browser, the whole thing, whichever is there here, let us stop this. I don't we let us not get need this, but I hope everyone clear with this one, right? Okay. So now whatever you are seeing here within this box, like within in between the developer tool and the top line, that is what the DOM, which will handle only with your document. When you're going with the DOM, you can't handle with the browser object models. But when it comes to the browser, it have the access to the whole tab. So it will have the access to the URL, it will have the access to the whatever the bookmarks you have and the history like navigations, previous tab whatever you have visited and previous old tab what you visited. So each and everything it will have the access. So that is what nothing but the browser object model. For example, so whenever you are using this browser object model, so this will be considered as the global objects. Why? Because whatever you access in the BOM, that means directly it will be going into the accessing the whole tab. For example, just take a small example. Let's run a function, okay, which you have a so function of say hello. Okay. So this is the function name. So I'll give like a lot of hello. So now if you see, so what will be the output that I'll get? Hmm? Reload, what I'll get?
Undefined.
Why I'll get undefined?
Function call select.
Okay, if I didn't call, there is no problem, no? Have a function, I was not calling it. Why I'll get undefined? For example, I was calling a function. If there is no function, then I'll get undefined. But I have a function which I was not using, so it will go and execute. If there is no error or not, the browser will not know. Why? Because the program is not getting executed there. It's just a piece of code, garbage code there, right? So also, I don't have any call here, so nothing I'm gonna get. So if you see, if you go to the browser, see, I was get nothing. But so when I give like window dot, okay, say hello, this is the function, right? So I was calling this function not directly. So I was calling this function with window. That means, see, whenever I reload my page, first thing I got is my alert only. Why? Because my window, these and all are global objects. For example, what else I'll get? For example, alert window dot inner height, comma inner width. Okay. So now if I reload, see hello, then I got 799. Okay, I got only 799. Why? Sorry, window dot. Okay, see hello, and then I got 799. I should get one more, right? Why it was not giving? Let's duplicate it. I don't want to waste time on checking what happening exactly. So here window is one of the object, BOM browser object. Okay. So now if you see first 451, which is the height, next width 1920. For example, if I just change it down, what is the before height? 450 something, right? Now if you see 725. So here if you see the window object is giving me the access to the whole window. Okay, so I can even get the height, width, pixel ratio, dead pixel, or anything that I can get directly by using this which one? Particular window object. So these and all can be handled under which one? My browser object model. For example, let us make one more small change, one more thing like, let me run a function like alert I'll pass. So within this location dot href. Okay. So what it will give? See, it's giving me the URL. Is the same URL or not? So that's how I was able to easily access my URL also, because my browser object is giving me the access to the whole tab whichever I was accessing. Clear? So for example, so now what I'll do, if pardon, okay, so I'll pass one of the browser object. Confirm is also one of the thing. Okay, so confirm, is anybody know what confirm will do? Hmm? Hmm? Anybody know? Again, exist no problem. Okay, so location dot href. So what I was doing, if confirm, so I was confirm in the sense it will give a pop-up like alert. It will give two options. One is okay and cancel. So I was, that is what confirm means. Okay, generally confirm is that's what we will get, right? Yes or no options. Same thing here. So it's a default one of the object of JavaScript, sub BOM. Okay, so if it is confirm, as soon as my page get loaded, I'll get this confirmation. When the user gives okay, I want to change the URL. Location.href means it is just taking that URL. I want to change it to like stp. Yes, I guess URL will be correct, right? Location will, I guess it is correct. Okay, so let me comment out this. So as soon as I reload, I got hello and one more hello. See, now I got one alert like go to Wikipedia. You want to go or not? This what this pop-up is what called as the confirm pop-up. We call it as clear. So if I cancel, nothing is happened. But if I just click on OK, what happened? Oh, cool. I given that. So it was taken me to the Wikipedia URL. Maybe here we are using very simple examples, but you can play with the whole browser object, history, previous tabs, next tab, everything by using this which concept? BOM. Okay. Yeah. So that's how my BOM is helping. BOM have the access to the each and everything on my browser. For example, some of the predefined objects of this BOM are okay. So which you can access is under this BOM, like it is the top field file right here. So alert is one of the browser object model object only. Okay. So second one is the confirm. Just now we used. So next prompt super. So prompt, at least you have people have idea, right? Prompt. Then why you didn't check confirm? Both are similar ones only almost, right? So prompt. Then what we have open. Okay. So close. So based on the see you how you can intersect with this event listeners and this BOM concept. For example, you want to click on an event. So when the user clicks on any particular event, you want to change the URL, or you want to open any something you want to open in the browser tab. So in such case, what you can mix these both concepts or not. So you can use the event listener and then you can use the BOM object like window.open or window.prompt, something you can give and you can access this. Okay, because the BOM nowadays now I have the access. DOM is only accessible within that my HTML document, but BOM is the concept which is giving me the BOM object whole screen, whole tab. It is giving me the privilege of accessing. So close and even set mode is one of the predefined JavaScript BOM concept only. Okay, set time out. If there is syntax mistakes, you try to history. It's a major thing. Even it have the accessibility to the history, what you have gone through. Okay, history, and then screen. So under the screen, in the sense, what we'll have, same thing that we see in screen size, screen height, like available height, available width, like a screen pixels ratio, or else like a color depth, etc. So everything of your screen you can be handled by using this. On which screen you are accessing, everything can be handled by using this BOM concept. Okay, so is it clear? So is anybody have any doubts in this? So is it understood how my BOM will usually work? Okay. So I want to start with JSON. Okay, I'll close it off quickly. So let us take 10 more minutes. Okay. Just take 2 minutes break and check this BOM and event propagation. Yeah, I'll start with let me say JSON. So let's continue. So I hope everyone are clear with this one, right? BOM and event propagations. How bubbling will work and how captioning will work and target. Clear? Any doubts? Okay, so now let's go with the next concept. Nothing but JSON. So what do you mean by JSON? What is meant by JSON? JSON is nothing but JavaScript.
JavaScript object rotation.
Google చేసేసినావు కదా.
లేదు సార్ చూస్తాను సార్ అది.
Good. Okay. So JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation. So what is mean by this JSON is, for example, previously when the first stage of web development or web applications, the data storing from database to front end, how they used to share is through XML. Okay, .xml methods. So it's, what is the disadvantage of this XML is the code will be not made in a proper structure and it is not giving us the more priorities, or like a or simply to say features of accessing it. So now as soon as this JSON comes into the market, so it is now it is the playing a major role in data management. Okay, JavaScript object notation. Okay, so what is this notation mean? Simply to say is, for example, I have a user's data. Okay, so I was storing in the database, or else I was, whenever you register automatically, that data need to be stored in somewhere else, right? So that whole data again you want to access in your front end. So how you will get it? So there is a way that you need to get it, right? So that is where this JSON comes into the picture. So the JavaScript is, the JSON always comes with the format of objects only. So if you have more data, it will come in a array of object or array of object. This is the only methods that you will get your JSON data. Why? Because each and every time the data will be in the same format. Okay, for example, I have a, let us create an object like call this function. So let us have let me create a, let user is equal to, okay, name I'll give like Manoj. So then age I'll give like 24. So what is it? It's a object now, right? So what I'll do, comma, I'll pass like to string. ToString is one of the method which will help us to, for example, one function I was passing, just imagine here, default method. Okay, so return name I'll take from, okay, I can directly access this keyword or not. I hope already you have known what this means. In the previous session functions we discussed how this will work. It will have the privilege of accessing the parameters from within the block scope. That means whichever there within that one. So now can I have the already my string function is there within my object called user. So I can have the access of accessing that name and this property. So I can, if I give this dot name, So I can have the direct access to that name or not. So this dot name, comma, age, I'll give like what I'll give. This dot age this dot name. Okay. So let us see what will be our output. So if I alert user, tell me what is the output I'll get. Alert of user. So now if I alert user, what is the output I'll get? Hmm? Sure. Name I got Manoj and age I got of 24. Clear. So, but for example, in this process of development, for example, a new properties are get added. Okay, like properties in the sense just kind of as mail ID only. Mail ID got added. So the old properties are sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times, renamed or will be removed here, right? So updating such toString directly here. So what is the problem here? So every time can be a pain. So we can't every time sit and change each and every keyword like name one time, age one time, stringify, we can't do it. So why? Because so whenever the data is coming from a JSON, we are using the stringify. What is the stringify basically doing here is it is avoiding our basic headache that we'll get with the data of JSONs. So the JSON data may be the format how we have here. So name, key and value pairs. Always, it will come with key and value pairs only. But see, key have no quotes and value have quotes. Okay. And key again, age key have no quotes and value. Numeric have no value. So if the values are not like in a proper way, one format, so is it easy for us to extract and implement those value to any table or somewhere? So it is little bit headache only. So that's where to avoid these type of headaches, the JSON.stringify comes into the picture. So what is this stringify will do? It will convert my objects into JSON. So basically there are a few set of rules that we need to maintain when we are using the JSON data. That means, so in the objects JSON, the single quotes is not allowed. For example, that means name you given as a double quotes and Manoj, if you give in single quotes, it is not going to accept. So even vice versa, you can't give single quotes in the JSON. So always it should be double quotes if you are giving. So and so whenever you are using this JSON.stringify, what it will do, it is just basically converting any object into the string. So that means now, for example, let me give like name only. I'll use the same thing. And moreover, it will not, objects JSONs will not allow you the comments. Okay. There are particular methods that you need to follow to give comments. Okay. So for that, what I'll do, I'll comment the whole code. So I'll go like, okay. Let us comment these two. So let me take student as one of the object. Okay. So name as Manoj and age as 24. Base. Skill as such string. So developer. Okay. Then what I can give? Yes. Place. Okay. Bangalore. For example, I'll give like hell man. Courses. I'll give an array here. Okay. So array I can give like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, JS, Node.js, etc. Okay, that's enough. So this is what my, just imagine one object. So now when I do this, like let JSON is equal to, okay, I don't want to use capitals. Why? Because it's a predefined word, so I can't declare it. So I'll use like extracted underscore data. I can use a small letters, it's not a big deal. Okay, because JSON, which is the word, capitals is a predefined word, but you can use the small letters JSON, but I don't want to confuse. So let's consider I given a word called extracted data is equal to JSON dot stringify of what is the object I need to, which object JSON I need to stringify? Student. Okay. So now if I check the output, first I'll give alert type of, what is that, extracted data. Okay. And also I'll give an alert, before that I'll give like student. First alert, it will first tell the what is its basic method, then it will tell the then I'll execute it after this line. Clear? So now then I can alert the, which one I need to alert? Extracted data, right, idiot. Okay. So extracted data, we can alert here. So now tell me, what is the output that I'll get? As per string file that I mentioned in the above example, what the string file is doing basically? It will convert whole thing into strings, my whole object. So now if I reload, so first is the about what is the type of students? It's an object, correct? So now then what I was doing, I was just stringified using students. So now what is the type of this extracted data now? String. So when I see, when I give okay, see now each and every keyword, for example, instead of alert, or you're saying console.log, I'll do. It will be more easy for you to understand. So if you see here, so name, key also in the string way, and value also in the string way. So even though 24, see, even key here directly gone into string. So numerics we don't need to worry about. Why? Because numerics will be always numbers. Okay. So now if you see each and every value, even the nested, that means the arrays or objects which are there inside of them also is going to be get converted into strings, courses. See, so that is what my stringify will do. So usually my stringify, what it will do, it will take any JSON data and it will convert it into the string. Okay, so basically simply to say any object into the string. So it is very important to convert my object data into string. Why? Because we can't expect how the data is coming from the JSON. It may be coming anyway. Maybe the mistake of the backend or in between, like the data is stored in a wrong format. Okay, because backend people they need to store like based on the what type, like integers they were saving, they need to give type there. So like if it is a string, they need to mention. They may be wrong mention. So we don't need to take any chances. So that's why you always 99.99 cases will use this stringify whenever you are accessing the JSON data, just to make sure that to convert them and using this in the proper way. So these JSONs usually supports like objects, arrays, and primitives. Primitives in the sense, what are the primitives? Strings, numbers, booleans. These are primitive data types. All this will be considered. Okay. So for example, let us consider. Okay. So alert JSON dot stringify of Okay. One is what is it is? It's a number. So I'll do click it like stringify of. Next I'll do the single quotes test. So next it's an array, right? So next I'll give a boolean. So next I'll give a array, right? Stringify of. Okay. So now guess what will be the output that we will get for each one. First one, what is output we'll get? 1. Second one, C, test. Single quotes is converted into double quotes because stringify will always never give a single quotes. Okay. In JSON methods, maybe in the normal JavaScript, single quotes and double quotes is not a matter. Both will work in the same way, right? Both will give you the same output, converting into a string. But in the JSON, it is not like that. Single quotes is not allowed. Always you should maintain the double quotes. So now if you see true, boolean will all be never converted. So boolean will be boolean only. So now if you see array will be array values. Clear? So now, so JSON is a generally the JSON is a data only language independent specification. So that means some JavaScript specific object properties are skipped. Okay, like how these are skipped now. Like booleans are skipped and array numerics are skipped. So like this, some of the things like function methods, like symbols, keys and values. Okay, symbolic keys and values will be there, right? So for example, here string values or keys and values we got 5 minutes. So here we got string values and keys. For example, some symbolic keys and values we'll get from the backend. So those also can't be changed. Those also will be string not be converted into strings, and those will be presented as the same way how they are came from the object. Okay. So like undefined object, these and all generally will be come in that way. Okay. Backend నుంచి మనం చేసాం రెండు ఒకటే నువ్వు చెప్పడం we call it as a term as the UI terms we call it as a JSON. General discussion లో డేటా అంటాం, దాన్ని డేటా అంటాం. ఆ JSON లో వచ్చేది ఏమి ఉండదు, డేటానే. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ లెట్ మీ షో యూ quick JSON data. Okay. ఇది వాళ్ళు ఇక్కడ మొత్తం ఇచ్చారు. ఓకే, JSON రెస్పాన్స్ అంటాం, బట్ ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ దోస్. ఇక్కడ డైరెక్ట్ యాక్సెస్ చేద్దాం. sample.json. Okay, see. డేటా అనేది ఏ ఫార్మాట్ లో ఉంది ఇందాక? డేటా అనేది మనకి ఇందాక minified format. We had the data in the minified way. The whole code JSON will always come in a minified way. Why? Because it not to be accessed like generally to say spaces. Okay, to avoid those white space and all, they'll minify the code. Whenever you're even when you're sending a production code, you will send the front end code also in the minified way only. We have already seen while discussing the bootstrap how minified code will look like. So when I extract this minified, if you see ID, title, so now if you see, so usually if he's a good backend developer, he'll send this in this way. Okay, see, directly both are in double quotes, he's only sending. But we can't always sure that the backend people will send in the same way. So that's why we'll use the stringify methods. Okay, so if you are pretty sure that it was coming in the JSON way, in that case, you no need to use this. And for example, see, now dot then response, they are using the arrow function and getting the response dot JSON. Okay, so always whenever you are getting a response, you need to use this keyword for whichever the response is the keyword, default keyword for response, and dot JSON. So now dot then JSON is equal to consoling. So if you see, we got the same output or not? Clear? So like this my JSONs will be. So, and whenever you are using this JSON string files, never use the circular, what we say, conversions. Like for example, I got the response. That response is assigned to one variable, and that variable is assigned to one more variable, and that variable assigned to one more within the function. What happening? Here you're circling. Okay, so what happens here when you circle like this, and when you try to stringify it, it will not work out. Why? Because it is an error. You're already changed from object to string, or string to function. You have made many changes. So at last, when it come to the final stage, you don't know in which format it is. So in that circular formats, the stringify will not work in most of the cases. That's why you need to avoid the circle changes of data. That's why every time you need to be make sure that your data change, whatever you need to change, like stringify or pass, anything you want to use, that should be done within the two steps of fetching the data. Like here I fetched, I should be able to change it in the next line. Then only it will give you a proper output. Clear? So next one is the stringify and parse. So what is this parse will do basically? Okay, so here basically my stringify, what it was doing, converting a normal object into strings. My parse, what it will do, it will convert my strings into the objects reverse way. Okay, so for example, whenever I was fetching the data, maybe I need in the format of JSON, but whenever I want to send back the data, I can't send in string method format, right? I need to send an object way. So in such cases, what you need to use? Definitely you need to do something. So that's where the JSON.parse comes into the picture. So what is my JSON.parse? It will do? It will just convert my whole data into the which data? Object data. Clear? So formatting spaces, these and all unwanted things. What are the other concepts you have?
JSON డేటాను యాక్సెస్ చేయాలంటే మళ్ళీ దాన్ని ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ కన్వర్ట్ చేయాల్సి ఉంటుంది.
ఎప్పుడు యాక్సెస్ అంటే ఎలా? See, even it is converted now, it is an object కదా. See, there are two things. Stringify ఏం చేస్తుందంటే, so the stringify was making like, for example, just imagine, ఎక్కడ మనది BOM. See, I have a data, so I can't be JSON can't be accessed in this way, key value pairs directly like this. So if it needed, it should be in the string way to access more prioritarily. So in such cases, when I use the stringify, what is the output we got? Okay, let me reload. What is the output we got here? Abe, not available. Why? Okay, we are doing something else. So still my data is in the object format or not? The data is in object format. Okay, structure is not changed. The parameters, the way, what to say, the type of the key and value pairs is changed inside. Clear? So strings is always, it will be, if it is single quote, it will convert it into double quotes. But if you see, is the numeric is changed or the boolean is changed? No, we have checked the examples, right? That's what we checked here. Booleans like numeric arrays, these are all not changed. It was just converting the structure, it was not touching at all. The structure will be same. That's why given the nested object also, see, even the nested also, it was not get changed. The only thing is it just making sure that making all the content keys into the strings and values also into the strings, apart from the executional values, which are like numerics, booleans and all. Clear? అర్థమైందా? అక్కడ అది స్ట్రక్చర్ చేంజ్ చేయట్లేదు, ఓన్లీ జస్ట్ స్ట్రింగ్ లే కన్వర్ట్ చేస్తుంది వాల్యూ, ఈచ్ అండ్ కీని వాల్యూని. ఓకే, యూ కెన్ యాక్సెస్ డైరెక్ట్లీ ఆల్సో, ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఎ బిగ్ డీల్, బోత్ విల్ వర్క్ అవుట్. అడిగింది అర్థమైంది. అట్ లాస్ట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లే కన్వర్ట్ చేసి యాక్సెస్ చేయాలని, కన్వర్ట్ చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. వై? బికాజ్ ఇది ఆల్రెడీ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లోనే ఉంది కదా వచ్చినా కూడా. జస్ట్ మనం స్ట్రింగ్ లేక కీవర్డ్ ని కన్వర్ట్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్
JSON ఫార్మాట్ కదా,
JSON
దాన్ని మనం
ఆబ్జెక్ట్ లైక్ మనం కన్వర్ట్ చేయము. We'll never convert a JSON into an object. Already they will send a proper structure. We are not supposed to touch that structure. Okay, why? Because for example, what we can say. Yes. Okay, just imagine from the backend, as you said, it was not coming in an object. Okay, so they are sending in some particular format, leave about any format. But once it comes into you, you want an object, so you can convert it. It's not a big deal. You can convert any data into an object or string or anything array. But when you're sending back, you're collecting means no issues. But if there is a two-way call, that means you need to get and post. Like example, consider as a some table data. I was getting a data in a table, okay, some data from database, and I have an option called add. Whenever I click on add, I'll get a form like name, data, something. When I submit, I was sending this data to the backend and the data update in my table immediately. So in this case, I was making both post call and the get call. So in this way, for example, the user sent in one format, okay, and you want to convert it into array. Just imagine array, I was giving an example. But when you converted the array, it is for your sake, you're doing in the front end, client side. But when you're sending the data back, you can't send in the array format. Why? Because the backend is expecting a particular format, object format, right? So in that case, definitely what you need to do, again, whichever the data you converted into the array, you need to convert the same data back into the original method, how it came from the backend. So then only the backend will accept it, right? Because backend, there is no person like segregating, okay, you come here, you come here. There'll be a automation. So backend, what it will do, it will be fixed that this is the format that I was given. So the data, if there is update in the data, I'll expect in the same way. Okay. For example, if there is some one more student is getting added. Okay. So one more student is getting added. What happens? It should be in the same format or not? అవునా కదా? For example, ఇక్కడ ఒక స్టూడెంట్ ఇంకోటి ఉన్నాడంటే, so it should be in the same format like this only, right? Maybe you can give multiple, you can remove these keywords and you can give multiple arrays of the inside of it, but the structure should be same. But I can't tell like, okay, I'll not send in this way, I'll send an simple array. You can't send, right? So backend has a fixed way of accessing and sending. Okay, so however backend send it, their headache. Usually we will ask front end people, will client side people ask how we want. Okay, and in some cases they'll send their by self. Okay, most of the people know that they should send in a stringify method. So by default they'll do send in this way. Now whatever we seen here now, in this way only they'll send. Okay, already stringified code it is. But if there is any issues in this, what we will do, we need to handle that in the front end. We can't do it, deal with the back end. If he's a good guy, he'll help us. Okay, he'll tell, okay, I'll make it and change it. But if he's a mental fellow, what he'll tell, okay, why I can't change it, because I already set up the whole database. So you try to change it in the client side. So in that case, first you need to extract the data. JSON is fixed concept. JSON you will get in the JSON format only. The format will be objects only. 100%, not even 99, 100 to 200%, it will come in objects only. JSON is about objects and array of objects. There is no other options. Okay, arrays you will not get like that way. So objects only you will get. So then that objects, how you want to convert, that you need to handle in the client side. Again, when you are doing a post call, if it is included for the data, then again you need to convert it back into the object only. There is no other way that you can handle this. Clear? Any doubts? అర్థమైందా? See, there are few things, predefined objects like math things like date. This and all also comes under stringify. So when you do this stringify and all, so there is particular scenarios that you need to maintain, like date can't be used with a new date keyword. Directly you can use, whenever you're using stringify, the JavaScript predefined methods we have, right? Like date and all. So that we can directly give. For example, so let's imagine I given like date is equal to like today is equal to new date of something I given. So whenever if you see, you can't directly access new date dot time something, but you can access when this data is assigned to some other value, right? For example, my whole new data value is assigned to a variable and I can extract the data from that value, but I can't directly extract the value from the date keyword. Same thing applies with the JavaScript also, sorry, this JSON also. JSON directly when you give like JSON.stringify of new date, it will not accept. It will take only default keywords, like date is the predefined keyword, right? It will directly take JSON.string of date. If you give, it will give a string value, whole string value. From that, you can extract whatever the value you need. Clear? So that's how my this JSON usually work. So try to check, don't worry much about JSON, but try to check what are the JSON methods we have available, like JSON string file, JSON parse, like this. We have many other methods that we have. Okay, try to check those methods, which will help you to definitely need to learn when in the upcoming classes. So tomorrow we'll be going to discuss about Ajax, which is completely about this JSON accessing only, how we can access the data from the back end and how we'll showcase in the front end. That's what the concept Ajax usually deals with. Okay, so that's we're going to discuss tomorrow. So try to check each and every JSON method that you have. Also check the what else we discussed today. We discussed about event propagation. Try to check how bubbling and capturing is work and what is the target, and also check what is the browser object model, and also check JSON, and also check Ajax. Clear? Is anybody have any doubts? Online people, anybody have any doubts? Clear? So generally how JSON will work, for example, front end, I can't save my data in local because it can be corrupted very easily. So I need to deal with the backend database. So I can't even directly access the database because hackers can directly hack it. So that's when middleware comes into the picture. So generally, how you will receive a data is the backend will send in one format, okay, and my middleware will convert the data into the readable format to the front end. How my front end will be able to read. Again, when you send back the data, middleware will stop it, and again it will convert the data into the DB format, how the database will understand. Okay, simply to say, it is a three-tier architecture, we call it as. Okay, so now your JSON you are easily understand here. Why? Because the middleware converted these data into readable format. But do you think in the backend it will be in this way? Backend will be always about tables, right? Tables it will be. The data will be in the table methods or JSON methods they'll use any, but most of the data will be in the tables. 190% data will be in tables format only. So if I just give a table format, you'll be able to access it here. That's not a readable format for the client side people. So that's why middleware what it was doing, it was converting it into objects or other objects. So the same way happens both front end and back end. So when you send a request, what happens? It will go to the middleware. The middleware send that request to the backend. So backend, based on the request, it will send the response to the middleware, and middleware send that response as a readable format to the user. Okay, same thing applies in both backend and front end. Okay, so that's how my JSON will work. So always JSON will be in the format of keys and values only. Clear? Anybody have any doubts? Online people, anybody have any doubts? I was asking you people, online people, anybody have any doubts? Okay then. So that's what about today's session. Try to check whatever we discussed. Okay. Okay then. Have a nice day. Bye. I guess previous session was already uploaded, right? 2 hours 47 minutes it seems. Try to check it out.